viewers, in this video we are going to learn about the basics of entity relationship model in conceptual database design. The following points will be covered in this lecture. What are the steps carried out in designing a database? Then why is the ER model used to create the conceptual design of a database? And what are entities, attributes, entity sets, types of entity sets, relationships and relationship sets, and types or degree of a relationship set we are going to discuss in this lecture. Let's now discuss the steps carried out in designing a database. Database design process is carried out in 6 phases as shown here. It includes requirements analysis, conceptual design, logical design, schema refinement, physical design, and application or security design as shown here in this diagram. Let's now focus specifically on conceptual design. In database design process, conceptual design is carried out in the second phase after the requirements analysis and takes the requirement specifications, which are the output of requirements analysis phase, as its input and converts the requirement specifications into the ER model. The ER model graphically represents entities, its attributes, relationship between the entity sets, and integrity constraints, which are also known as business rules. Okay, ER diagrams are widely used and preferred tool for the conceptual design, as it helps both the users as well as database developers to preview the structure of the database before implementing the database. As well, after the conceptual database design, it has to be transitioned into logical design, right? So if conceptual design is made with ER diagrams, it enables a straightforward translation into relational model, which has to be performed in the logical design of the database. That's why ER model is considered as an important tool for the conceptual design of a database. Let's now discuss the basics of ER model. In entity relationship model, entity sets, its attributes, and relationship sets between the entity sets are the basic components. Okay, an entity refers to a real world object that is distinguishable from other objects. An entity is described using a set of attributes. An entity set is a collection of similar entities that have the same set of attributes. For example, every individual employee in an organization is known as an entity, and collection of all employees in an organization is known as an entity set. Okay, the attributes of entity set describes its properties. For example, if we take the employee entity set, all the employee entities have the attributes SSN, name, and salary. Okay, similarly, in the students entity set also, all the students entities have the attributes roll number, name, and mark. Okay, each entity set has a key. Usually, key is a minimal set of attributes that uniquely identifies an entity if they are not weak entity set. Here, in employee entity set, SSN is the key, and in student entity set, roll number is the key. Okay, and each attribute has a domain, which is also called as a data type. Okay, domain is also called as data type. That restricts a set of possible values assigned for that attribute. For example, the domain or data type of SSN in employee entity set is character, for name it is character, and for salary it is real. Whereas coming to student entity set, the domain of roll number is character, for name it is character, and for marks it is integer. Okay, and every attribute is represented by oval symbol. Okay. Here, the domain information could also be listed along with the attribute name, but they are omitted here to keep the figures compact. Okay. Let's now discuss the types of entity sets. We can classify the entity sets into two types: strong entity sets and weak entity sets. A strong entity set contains a primary key to uniquely identify its entities, and a strong entities in and strong entity set does not depend on any other entity in the database schema. Whereas coming to the graphical representation of strong entity set, the strong entity set is represented by a rectangle symbol, and its key is represented by an underline. The underline is a normal line, and the relationship between the two strong entities is represented by a diamond symbol. Let us now discuss about a weak entity set. A weak entity set does not contain a primary key, but it has a partial key called as a discriminator. A weak entity set always depends on a strong entity to uniquely be identified in the database schema. Okay, whereas coming to the graphical representation of weak entity set, both the weak entity set, which is usually be represented as a rectangle, its identifying relationship set usually be represented diamond, right? So both rectangle as well as diamond are represented with dark lines or bold lines, as shown here in this diagram. Okay, the partial key of the weak entity set is represented by a broken line. Okay, here the parent entity set is given as an example for weak entity set because it cannot exist independently in a university database without taking admission to their ward. Okay, so the parent entity set can be identified uniquely with the roll number of the student as well as using the name of the parent. Okay, here in this diagram you can also notice that the partial key parent name is underlined with a broken line or dotted line. Okay, we will discuss in detail about weak entity set in the subsequent video. Let's now discuss the another important component of ER model, relationships and relationship sets. A relationship is defined as an association between several entities. In works in relationship set, each relationship indicates a department in which an employee works. That is, if we take an employee entity Bob and the department entity marketing, the relationship that exists between them are works in relationship. Okay, coming to relationship set, it represents a set of relationship of same type. It means that all the entities in the employee entity set and department entity set are associated through works in relationship. A relationship can have descriptive attributes to record information about the relationship. Here, since is the descriptive attribute which is used to describe as of when the employee entity works in the department entity. Let's now discuss the degree of relationship set. The number of entity sets that participate in a relationship set is termed as the degree of that relationship set. Okay, we can classify the relationship sets into four types based on the number of entity sets associated with the relationship set. The four types of relationship sets are Uni Relationship Set, this is also called as Self Relationship Set, Binary Relationship Set, Ternary Relationship Set, and Inner Relationship Set. Let's now discuss the Uni Relationship Set. An entity set can participate in a relationship set with itself. Such type of relationship set is known as Uni Relationship Set. Entities in the Uni Relationship Set play different roles in the relationship. Uni Relationship includes role indicators to express the role of entities in the entity sets. Here, the employee entity set is associated to itself through the reports to relationship set. Here, both the category subordinate as well as supervisors are the employee of an organization, but their roles can be differentiated by adding the role indicator as illustrated here in this diagram. Let's now discuss binary relationship set. Binary relationship set is the relationship set where two entity sets participate in a relationship set. Here in this example, works in relationship set associates two entity sets, employee and department entity sets. Okay, let us now discuss Turner relationship set. A relationship set that relates three entity sets is known as Turner relationship set. Here in this example, uh, you can assume that each department has offices in several locations. So to add the locations information, um, here in this example, if suppose the department has offices in different locations, then we can add the locations entity set to record the location information at which each employee works. Okay, here you can observe that the relationship set associates three entity sets. That's why it is given as an example for Turner relationship set. Like this, we can classify the relationship set into n-ary relationship set if n entity sets participate in a relationship set. Okay, let's now discuss what is an instance of the relationship set. An instance of a relationship set is a snapshot of the relationship at some instant of time. Here, the instance of relationship set works in shows its snapshot. For simplicity, the instance diagram is drawn only with SSN of employee and the department ID of department entity set. Here, you can observe that employee with SSN 211 has worked in a department since 1/1/1991. As well, you can also understand that the employee with SSN 110 has worked in a department since 1/2/1992 and so on. Okay. Um, so from this you can understand that an instance of a relationship set is a snapshot of the relationship at some instant of time. Okay. Hello viewers, in this video we learnt about the basic concepts in ER model. In the next video we will discuss additional features of ER model. Okay. Thanks for watching this video.